welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys for tuning in. Today I want to talk about Zion Williamson and all the turmoil that's been going on in New Orleans that kind of flies under the radar. But before we jump into the video, I just want to make sure that if you guys are new to this channel, if you're a new viewer, I make basketball videos on this channel every second day. If you guys like that kind of content, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and aside from that, let's jump into this video. My name's Emmanuel Camia, and you are watching League Talk. Lately, in recent months, there's been turmoil between the New Orleans Pelicans and Zion, and there's been like tenuous tension between them. Now, Zion has barely been in the league for 2 years. He was drafted in 2019, and he's causing all this commotion. It's just kind of really unprecedented for a star that's only been in the league for this amount of time, and it's starting to get worse and worse. I don't know if mainstream media is talking about this, but late last month, September, a prominent New Orleans newspaper named The Time Pecan reported that Zion Williamson has a very, very tense situation between him and the president of basketball organization, David Griffin. Now, what's funny is it wasn't always like this. It's reported that when David Griffin first got to New Orleans, actually, he made it abundantly clear and he insisted on trying to make the organization and the staff become like family, right? Which in and of itself is a weird thing to think about when you really think about it, because he is a businessman and the NBA is a business. This is a man who trades away players like there's no tomorrow. Doesn't feel any remorse. So to try to insert that family feeling in there is just kind of weird for the NBA, and because every player knows it's a business before it's a sport. But I digress. But he really tried to push this card of being a family or trying to cater to Zion Williamson especially, and it's even reported that he went as far as playing the piano for Zion Williamson. That's how much he was trying to cater to Zion and trying to get on Zion's good side. And now that Zion and David Griffin don't have that relationship anymore, and they barely talk. That's what the newspaper used. They barely talk. Could you imagine that? You barely talk with your boss when he tries to get a hold of you. Things like that, internally, they don't end out well. That never plays out well. So for Zion and David Griffin to barely be talking is kind of a sign of the times. It shows you what's to come. It's a writing on the wall, right? And furthermore, tension between Zion Williamson and David Griffin isn't only reserved for David Griffin. It has trickled down all the way throughout the organization, right? A prominent reporter named Shamit Duwa,
hope I didn't butcher his name,
he reported out last month, September again, Zion Williamson was actually ghosting his teammates. Last month, all the teams were starting to get together and play together and get in shape because of the preseason was starting and the season is starting soon. So they were getting in shape and playing together, and the New Orleans Pelicans were actually in Nashville doing a bunch of drills, just working out together, and they tried to reach out to Zion, and they reached out to him, they texted him to try and come down to Nashville to practice with them, and he just ghosted them. And the funny thing is, when they asked Zion Williamson about this, he replied, "Let's just say that's something I can't refute," which is very alarming. He is not backing down from it. He's not trying to shut down any rumors, and it is very alarming because it is advertising to other teams, "I'm unhappy, I'm disgruntled," and you're advertising to other teams. And it's kind of like the Anthony Davis situation that happened all the way back when he was in New Orleans and was leaving. LeBron James would have never went after Anthony Davis if he knew Anthony Davis was not disgruntled in New Orleans, right? And Zion Williamson saying, "Yeah, I just kind of ghosted my teammates. I barely talk with the president of basketball operations," is saying, "I don't like it here," right? And they say history doesn't repeat, but it rhymes. Other teams are going to be like, "Yo, you are not happy, we can get you. You're a good player, you're a star, you are a box office. We can get you," right? It is not a good look. If I were a New Orleans fan, I would be uneasy right now before it gets really, really bad, right? And because I say that because it's not only reserved, this tension that Zion has towards the organization is not only reserved for David Griffin nor his teammates. It is also reported that Zion Williamson has had a long history of tension between him and the medical staff. And this stems to all the way to his rookie year when he got injured, right? Because remember, Zion Williamson came into the league injured. He was injured at Duke when he was drafted. He didn't play the rest of the March Madness in 2019, the tournament. So he was injured at Duke, came into the league, his rookie year, he injured his knee because of his huge playing weight. Zion is 280 pounds and he's high flying. He is jumping out of the gym, right? So all that torque he puts on his knees, it is excruciating. And his medical staff seeing this, right? They saw this, that, yo, you've had a history of injuries in the past and you were injured in your rookie season. The two parties became really tense towards each other because they saw each other more than they'd like to admit, right? Zion felt as if the medical staff was putting too much restraint on him. They were making him jump through too many hoops in order to get back on the court. And the medical staff thought that Zion needs to work on his weight, which is, I agree with them. He needs to work on his weight because this is something that could be a detriment to him in the future, to his whole career, right? They just were not seeing eye to eye on there. And it got so bad that apparently last year in the bubble, Zion actually kept a knee injury from his coaches. He kept a knee injury from the medical staff, and the reason he did that was because his parents actually instructed him to just not report it because they felt he wasn't playing enough and they didn't like all the restrictions that the medical staff put on him to not play. It's kind of like the same situation that Kawhi Leonard had in San Antonio with the medical staff, right? And furthermore, another thing that's a red flag, huge red flag, waving a red flag, is his parents. Speaking of his parents actually put in a lot of input into his decision making, right? It was reported all the way back in June by The Athletic that Zion's parents actually were unhappy with him being in New Orleans and that they wanted him to leave for a number of reasons. Number one, they hate that New Orleans is not a big market, right? They would much rather have Zion in like in New York, right? And that's not New Orleans' fault. I mean, like, what are you gonna do about that, right? Second is they thought that the New Orleans Pelicans have not done enough to put enough talent around Zion to win. Which, first of all, I have to say, hold on, pump the brakes, time out. Number one thing I have to say is red flag. We are seeing parents putting in input on their child's career, right? Where have we seen this before? Case study, Lonzo Ball, LaVar Ball, right? We saw exactly what that can do for a player. It does. You're not helping them out, right? You're helping literally nobody out. You're not helping out the organization. You're not helping out Zion. You're not helping out yourself, right? What we saw with LaVar and Lonzo was this. LaVar was the mouthpiece for Lonzo, right? LaVar put a target on Lonzo's back. LaVar called out Luke Walton, the coach of the Lakers at the time. LaVar called out the players that Lonzo was playing with. Brandon Ingram, Josh Hart, all those guys, when he would say, oh, my boy needs to play with these players and X, Y, and Z, and they just aren't putting enough talent around Lonzo in order for him to win. And the thing it does there is it just kind of alienates Lonzo from the locker room even furthermore, right? Because he walks into the locker room and players are gonna be like, yo, your dad is saying a bunch of all this stuff about us, right? Are you saying that to him? Are you relaying this to him? Is he just saying what you feel? What's the deal, right? And you have this cancerous relationship in a locker room, and then also that LaVar would just paint a huge target on Lonzo's ball. Lonzo's the greatest thing ever since sliced bread. Lonzo's the greatest thing since Michael Jordan, and it just made Lonzo's life a living hell. And LaVar has learned actually from what happened with Lonzo, and he didn't do any of that with LaMelo. That's what needs to happen. Zion's parents need to take a page out of LaVar's book. Stay away. Furthermore, the whole thing about there's not enough talent around my son to be winning championship, settle down. Zion's been in the league for 2 years. He was drafted in 2019. Zion came into the league the same year as his counterpart that he's playing with, Jackson Hayes. Brandon Ingram is one of the oldest guys on there, right? That just goes to show you how young that team is. Zion is playing with guys around his age. They need time to develop, okay? Winning takes time. And the thing is, Zion's parents are so used to being the big fish in a small pond in terms of Zion's won everywhere and done everything he's wanted everywhere he's gone, right? In high school, AAU, at Duke, they catered to him. Everything, hey, here you go, this is what you want, right? And now he comes into the league and he becomes a small fish in a big pond. Zion, you're not the only big star. There's Stephen Curry in the league. There's Giannis in the league. There is Kevin Durant in the league. There is LeBron James in the league. There are so many other stars that you can't just pull the strings and just get what you want all the time. Things take time. right? It takes time to win. LeBron James didn't come into the league and immediately start winning. It took him 3 years to get into the playoffs, and in 4 years he went deep into the playoffs. And LeBron James is a better prospect and a better player than Zion Williamson is. So it took time for him. Could you imagine if LaMelo Ball and LaVar Ball started heckling Michael Jordan and saying, oh man, you need to put talent around my son, you need to put talent around me, so we can win. You know what Michael Jordan would say? He would turn around and he'd say, you haven't even put down your Rookie of the Year award yet. You've barely been in the league. Sit down. Things take time. You need to develop. Let me take care of my job. Shut up, right? And that's what Zion's parents need to learn. Like, stay out of this. It's not for you. Go somewhere and let the professionals do what they do. You're not a GM. Everybody's an armchair GM. You're not a GM. Okay? That's what I think. I think Zion's parents need to chill. I think Zion needs to focus on 3 things. I think he needs to focus on making sure his parents stay out of his business. I think he needs to make sure that he gets his body right, watches his playing weight, right? Listen to the medical staff. And I think he needs to play out the rest of his contract with unnecessary noise. And if I were a New Orleans fan, I'd be very uneasy because this thing could get bad real fast. I wouldn't be surprised if Zion requested for a trade X, Y, and Z, right? So, yeah, those are my thoughts on the whole situation, on if Zion's leaving the organization or not. There's high chances he might, right? They can't fix the issue of New Orleans being not a big market, right? So yeah, those are my thoughts on that. I just want to make sure that if you watched throughout the whole video and you watched the whole thing, I'm so grateful, I'm thankful. And if you are new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button. And if you're a recurring viewer, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and hit that like button. And yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and until next time, kids.